New details have been revealed in Trent Frederic trade discussions, with a potential trade and return with the New York Rangers being listed. And we're going to be talking about the implications this will have on the Boston Bruins, as well as what the odds are of this trade actually going down, because things look way better than they may initially seem. But before we get into this video, we know 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot for all of your Boston Bruins news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button, join me here on the channel. We are covering everything Boston Bruins, including the very busy upcoming trade deadline the Bruins are going to have to put some work into. So if you want to get all your news from Boston Bruins, right here is that spot. And you may notice the Team Canada jersey right here on my wall. The Four Nations Cup is currently going on, so you may see me support the country here in this time until the Boston Bruins return to action. But without any further ado, let's get into our first little bit of this news and kind of breaking down what the deal is. The Bruins, muddling along the same vicinity as the Rangers, have a couple UFA forwards who might fit in Drury mode. Trent Frederic and Justin Brazeau. Neither would be earth-shaking additions, though the prices are still higher than you'd like. That's two sizable players with some skill to provide depth behind the new-look Rangers top six. Now, this article was sent to me from a Rangers fan at Rangers Digest, Darius Dominguez. So, this is from him. Thank you guys for that. And go have a look at what he had to say about the potential Bruins trade as well. But this is a very interesting one coming from not just Rangers fans, but the Rangers reporters themselves. Here is what is going down. The Rangers are short on draft capital, so acquiring one of these Bruins would mean either trading Lindgren and Smith first and flipping some picks as part of with their prospects. If the Rangers were willing to let Brennan Othmann go, they might even convince the Bruins to take Chris Kreider, since surely the Bruins is a place Kreider doesn't have on his 15 no-trade list. So, like, base deal right here. Base deal, ladies and gentlemen, looking at this, is Trent Frederic for Brennan Othmann and Chris Kreider. Now, I'm sure we're all familiar with Chris Kreider, but Brennan Othmann may not be one that everybody knows. But Brennan Othmann is a guy that I've been a massive fan of for a couple years now. When we see him playing in the World Juniors with Team Canada, getting to see get that opportunity, he was a stellar player. Going from his stats in junior to where he is now with the Hartford Wolfpack in the AHL, he's kept up the pace, but with the Rangers team being so stacked, may not be the best, but stacked with names, he was not given a spot, and many Rangers fans want to see him in the NHL, but when we look at it, he is a player that certainly fits into a Bruins system who, 22 years old, young, has a lot of potential in the second year of his entry-level deal, but when we're looking at the whole system that the Rangers have for him, he's just not been given the chance, but is certainly a player that is ready to be in the NHL. 6', 186 is an absolute force to be reckoned with. And in the OHLs, we see at the Flint Firebirds, 97 points in 66 games. And then going on with the Peterborough Petes and the Flint Firebirds, both of those teams in that season, 43 and 24 points in 56 games. He is a player that can put the puck in the back of the net. He's very, very good in his feet. And although may not be the biggest guy, certainly has used the physicality in his career and is something that the Bruins love. That physicality, the player that's just go, 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 go every single time they're on the ice. And Brennan Othmann is the definition of that. Now, when we do head over, of course, to Chris Kreider, and we know he's been on a bit of a slump this season. I think a slump would be an understatement, but 47 games, he's got 20 points, 16 goals, 4 assists. Not playing his best, but still great defensively this year with a 58.6 Corsi. The thing that is a little bit concerning for many Bruins fans, though, is the age. 33, going on 34, and by the time his deal is up, which we will discuss in a little bit, he'll be 37. Now, Trent Frederic, we can't say he's been playing too great either, with 55 games, 8 goals, 7 assists, 27 years old. Actually, his birthday was yesterday at the time of recording and uploading this video, so happy birthday, Trent Frederic, or happy belated birthday. And I don't really like to be talking about your trade situation here on the day after your birth, but, got to report the news, got to take a look at what's going on. So, when we're looking at this on paper, Brennan Othmann and Chris Kreider for Trent Frederic, and, of course, some picks would have to likely be in there, but if it were something along the bare bones of this, with a couple more additions, this trade seems like a major benefit for the Boston Bruins. Now, as I mentioned, the cap space could get a little tangly, and especially with Chris Kreider and his not-so-small cap hit, it certainly could be a question as to what would happen. He's making 6.5 for this year, next year, and the year after. And as I mentioned, 36, I believe I said 37, but 36 by the time this deal expires. But when you're looking at Chris Kreider, what he's done in the past, what we've been able to see that he can do, the value is worth it. Now, this year certainly isn't, but you never know when a player needs a new system, a new scene, a bit of scenery, And playing in Boston certainly would fit that scheme and fit that outlook. And on the Rangers, he's playing on the third line, left wing, it says here on Puckpedia, but given what the Bruins have been working with this year, given their kind of scheme, I guess we can look at here, he would certainly be, a top forward. Brad Marchand, Morgan Geekie, both of those guys have really been playing well this season. Their first and second line, respectively. But when we're looking at the depth overall, the Bruins don't have a lot of that. And we know that Charlie Coyle has been a name that could go out into trade talks as well, and one that I think would probably be leading that charge. That would really give another big opportunity on the wing for Chris Kreider in a top six for the Boston Bruins. And when we go to Brennan Othmann as well, another guy, young guy, under contract, that would give the opportunity for the Bruins to move on from maybe, Justin Brazeau, who's been in trade talks. I don't agree with the idea, but it gives them another winger that can already be at the NHL level. And one thing I wanted to mention as well that kind of throw on top of this is when we're looking at, I will get to that moment, but when we're looking at this once again as well, the fact that the wingers on the left side are all free agents. We know that Morgan Geekie certainly is making a case for be re-signed. Brad Marchand, we all want to be re-signed. And then having Brennan Othmann and also Chris Kreider be available for a few more years is certainly another aspect the Bruins would not hate to have. Having those two players signed, have them there, have them locked up, it gives the Bruins that freedom to go and kind of build around not just them, but also the rest of this team. So when we're pairing those two, of course, there may be a pick involved. If it's a first-rounder, that's where it kind of gets a bit questionable, although Brennan Othmann and Chris Kreider, both two very, very good assets that could come the other way. The question still remains, what is happening? And as you see just then from Scott McLaughlin, this is what I put in a video the other day, kind of discussing the idea. It says Emily Kaplan on ABC called the Bruins trade deadline X factors and said they're listening on a lot right now, both adding and subtracting, said they're getting a bunch of calls on Geekie, Carlo, and mainly Trent Frederic here is the one that we've known for quite some time. And other teams don't believe they'll trade Marchand is another piece at the end of that, and I still really don't believe it at all either. I think it's just a big ruse at this point, but Trent Frederic has been on the market for some time, and the way the Bruins are really panning out to look at this deadline, regardless of if they're buyers or sellers, I do think that Trent Frederic is one that they will flip regardless, mainly because of the contract as well. We've been talking about what the extension could look like. It's been around $4 million, $3.5 to $4 million, a little bit out of the Bruins' budget, although Trent Frederic, when he's on, certainly could command that money, but it's a bit too much of a risk right now the way he's been playing this season. We'll be better off to get the value for him in the trade while he's already at that level. So when we do look at this, I will pull this up once again because I think this is a very interesting idea. The bare bones of a Brennan Othmann, Chris Kreider for Trent Frederic. That deal could be very interesting. So I want to know what you guys think. I think this is one of the deals that we're going to have a few mixed opinions on. There's a lot of ones that we're looking at from Bruins fans right now that are, we don't want this. Mainly the Marchand kinds of trades and stuff and looking for other of these guys. But Chris Kreider and Brennan Othmann, right now, I think they help this team way more than what Trent Frederic has been, and also frees up some spots, gets some lockdown. A lot of benefits here for the Boston Bruins, but once again, we have to see how this is going to go. And what the people have been reporting is that you never know who's going to be back after the Four Nations tournament. So, I'll be keeping you updated with all the Boston Bruins news. I want to know what you guys think about this, but during this Four Nations Cup, we're going to see a lot of interesting things, and I will be reporting on what we're seeing from the Bruins boys here in this tournament. But like I said, let me know what you think about this deal. It's a very interesting one. Do you want it, yes or no? And what do you think the full deal could look like? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be checking them out. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.